Hello once again, it is I, Snarf23, on YouTube. And this video, we're going to talk about the initial setup of Reaper once you get it downloaded and installed. If you have any sort of devices, what to do with those devices, and how to set them up. So, after you get Reaper initially installed, there's a lot of things you'll need to be able to do to see signal through any channel and any to lay it down onto any track. So this is what you got to do. You either got a MIDI device or an audio device. You go up here to Options. You go down to Preferences. Your device should have a driver or it's plug and play, which means the driver's built into the hardware, and when you plug it up, the driver automatically gets installed from your hardware into the computer. Sometimes plug and play means that it automatically downloads it from a website when you plug the device up to the computer. It's pretty wild how they behave sometimes. Sometimes it's literally just plug and play and you don't see anything downloaded at all and it just works. So, but sometimes you actually have to install it, like you're still using Windows 95 or something, and install it onto your machine and then, restart your computer and then get it to work. But for the most part, it's not hard to get a piece of hardware's driver installed and working. Okay, so once you're in Preferences, you come down to Device, and the first thing you got to do is select your driver, and mine is the Osseo driver for Mackie products. Because I purchased a Mackie Onyx 16, and that's the driver that works with that piece of hardware. Okay, so then after that, you've got to enable your inputs. So there's a range, and you have to make sure the little check box is checked, and then put the range for your hardware's features for the total channels. So you would say channel 1 is the first, and then 16 or 18 or how many your piece of hardware has, and that range will enable all the other channels in between 1 and 18. And then the output range, I have 4 bus outputs on this Mackie, and you do the same. You give it a range, and then it identifies the other 4. Okay, so then you hit Apply and OK, and then you should be able to assign things in the actual project window on the track settings on the left side over here. So after that, other than that, if you wanted to do a MIDI device, which audio is audio signal coming from a microphone or a guitar, it's actual signal. And MIDI is information. MIDI is digital information. It's not audio signal. So those are two totally different, separate types of devices. So you need to be able to select and enable MIDI devices if you actually use one, like a MIDI keyboard, like this one here. So what you got to do is go to MIDI devices and preferences. So you always, everything you need to know, really. Anytime you bring this window up, you're always in Preferences. And then once you're in Preferences, you go to MIDI devices, and then you see your device over here, and then you can right-click it, enable it, disable it, whatever you need to do. But in our case, we're going to have it enabled, and you would need to enable your device, and then you would hit Apply and OK, and then your MIDI device should be up and running. Also, reset all MIDI devices. If you ever have an issue with not being able to get signal or something, this, I swear, 75% of the time solves the problem. Reset all the MIDI devices, and then you're good. You're good to go. So, but normally it's just apply OK after you first set it up. And then you should be able to, at that point, you should be able to go over here to the track project window here. And these parameters, all these little controls here, you can change for inputs from a device. So let's just use it on this 16-inch floor tom here. If you click this arrow down where it says analog 8, you can go to mono, and this is audio devices, okay? There is a stereo option, and it takes up more channels for you to do with the same amount of instruments if you choose to do so. But if you're just using mono for audio, then here's my mixer. This is the Mackie 1 through 18 because I got 18 inputs. And right now this vocal's on number 9. Number 8 is a drum. So anyway, I'm not going to change any of these, but you would literally just select the input that you have your microphone or your guitar or whatever plugged into with the level and everything adjusted on the hardware. And then you would adjust everything in Reaper afterward. And adjust the levels after you've selected the appropriate channel for the input. So, that's a 16-inch floor tom right now. That's analog 8. And these are all the audio in from the Mackie. Okay, the other things are record inputs, audio or MIDI. You can have that enabled. There's other things you can do here, like MIDI overdub, if you're using MIDI. But every track is either audio or it's MIDI. It can never be both. It's either audio or MIDI. So another thing is that if you don't hear sound even still after having your MIDI instruments on, you could go to this little monitor, record monitoring, and toggle it on and off. And if you listen to my vocal right now, if I toggle it on and off, you hear it get real quiet right here. So that's one thing you can mess with is the record monitoring. And then other than that, I think that's really it. If you go to the router down here, the routing matrix, which is actually up here in the view window, and then routing matrix, if I click that, it goes away. But if I go back to view, go to the routing matrix again, comes back. Okay, if you right click here on the analog out, there's a volume control for the master send. It affects all the tracks in the mix, and you can crank that up and it sounds a lot better. So other than that, I don't think there's a whole lot. There's the master at the top. There's a whole lot of things up here like the metronome and snapping and toggle track recording, all these things. But essentially that's all you need to get signal or MIDI information running through a channel and a track and laying it down on a track in Reaper. Record enable has to be enabled to be able to see all the controls for the inputs. So if I disable record, well, it looks like they're still there. But in order to adjust a lot of things, you want to have it record enabled one way or another. So I guess that's it for this video, and I appreciate everybody, and thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.